2. Aron and Omi with me to discuss a fascinating weekend of Formula 2 action. And Aron, I don't know if we got the memo with the t-shirts. We seem to be wearing the same t-shirt here, mate. I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, Spa, always a good round. Plenty of action. And I know that you'll be the same as me. Another historic track, one that me and you both love, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Seeing cars race around Spa always holds special memories for me because my first ever sort of viewing experience of motorsport was the 1998 Belgian Grand Prix, where there was a multi-car pile-up out of La Source. So that was quite the introduction. We didn't get quite that amount of drama in any of the categories this weekend, but we had plenty of action. It's always great going to Spa. It's a real challenge for the drivers. It's a challenge for the teams as well. We saw that play out as well in Formula 2. Some teams opting for high downforce, some opting for low downforce, and it brought us some interesting action on track. And also the weather played its part as well.
Whenever we go to Spa, Omi, the weather always has something to say, doesn't it? It seems like every time we go to Spa in Formula 2, there's some kind of weather around. And it played its part again this weekend, didn't it?
Yep, it absolutely did. We were all looking forward to an amazing sprint race coming our way. But then when we got to it, quite a lot of rain, meaning we couldn't get it done in the first try. We had to have a go in the second try. And in the second try, we only managed to get a few laps in. So yeah, weather always plays a part. I think we would probably have a huge chance of getting a prediction right if we could predict that will it be raining at Spa next year.
Yeah, exactly that. We're going to talk about the sprint in a little bit more in detail later on in the podcast. But yeah, plenty coming up then. So we're going to talk about Paul Aron's misfortune. We're also going to be talking about the championship battle and the impact of this weekend on the championship battle. As we said, we're going to touch on a washed out or a bit of a washout in the sprint race. But there's only one place to start, isn't there? And that is Isaac Hadjar taking his 4th win of the season. A great performance in the feature race. It was another immaculate drive, Aron, wasn't it?
He said in the press conference after the race he drove a perfect race, and I have to agree with him. He really, really did. Starting from 3rd on the grid, he got the jump on Gabriel Bortoleto, moved himself ahead of Paul Aron. Even though he lost the spot just after the pit stops, he kept his composure, moved himself in front, and he just never looked flustered, even though Gabby Bortoleto was closing him down towards the final few laps. He then just opened up that cushion again and just reasserted his control. I mean, it's sort of eerily similar to another Red Bull looking car that we've seen over the last sort of 18 months. Gets in front, stays there, looks very composed, never really in any danger. But for Isaac, he is doing everything he possibly can, considering all of the circus surrounding the second Red Bull F1 seat, what they'll do with the V-Carb team as well, driver lineup, rumours of Liam Lawson finally getting a sustained run in Formula 1 in that team. What can Isaac Hadjar achieve if he continues putting performances like this in? We know that Helmut Marko likes him. They culled a few away from the programme last year, didn't they? So Isaac sticking around is really positive for him. And these sorts of performances are the performances they're looking for at Red Bull. They don't just want someone who's going to come on the grid in Formula 1 and be another driver. They want a race winner, someone who can challenge, maybe not challenge, but at least get close to Max Verstappen's level in the Formula 1 team. And that is an extraordinarily high level. Isaac has got a long way to go before he reaches that level. He's got to graduate to F1 first. But these sorts of performances where he's super composed, super efficient, no fuss, no fluster, gets the job done. 4 feature race wins this season now. That is super impressive. If you think about last year's champion, Théo Pourchaire, took 1 victory. That's it, 1 victory. That was the feature race in Bahrain, and he didn't win again after that, but became champion. The previous year, Felipe Drugovich took, 5 victories, I think? I don't think they were all feature race wins, though. But, there's several different ways to win this title. Winning all the feature races is probably the easiest way, though. And Isaac Hadjar is doing exactly that.
He is. It was a great drive by Isaac Hadjar. Would you say, Omi, that it was his best drive in Formula 2? As Aron said, he used the word composed there. It absolutely was composed, but it was fast as well, wasn't it? He's been rapid all season long.
Yeah, he's been rapid all season long, as you mentioned, and it's the feature races. Of course, he's the only races he's won is feature races. So he qualifies well, and then of course is able, and then has good race pace, good pace in the race, and just makes it all work. So yeah, brilliant stuff once again from Isaac Hadjar. And yeah, this one is going to feel, special for him. He went, of course, toe to toe with both of his championship rivals, Bortoleto and Paul Aron, of course, while he lasted in the race as well. But yeah, great stuff from Isaac Hadjar. Took the position over Bortoleto on the opening lap up the Kemmel Straight, then had a bit of a battle with Aron, but came out on top, then pulled away. So just brilliant stuff from Isaac Hadjar. I think he had the pace over everyone. And yeah, this is definitely going to be one of his most satisfying victories of the season.
Definitely. Aaron, we saw Isaac Hadjar and Paul Aron, the two championship contenders, or have been up until this point, go wheel to wheel. How good was that to see during the race?
It's always exciting to see your top two drivers in the championship fighting on track for the lead of a feature race, or even in a sprint race as well, because they know that that's the move that matters. It's literally a move that's going to put them further forward and their rival further back, because it's just that swing. It didn't quite last as long as we might have hoped. Isaac Hadjar had a bit more pace, a little bit, but it was fun while it lasted.
Isaac Hadjar, great performance by him, and he was voted your driver of the round as well, with 69% of the votes on our social media channels at Inside F2. So congratulations to Isaac Hadjar. You spoke about it briefly there, Aaron. Obviously, Paul Aron, such a shame for him coming to a halt on the final lap, losing out on that podium. And Omi, for me, that is a season-defining moment right there. Do you not think?
Yeah, absolutely. This race is always going to have a huge impact on the championship, giving us an idea on who is definitely looking quick we're going into that summer break, and who could possibly be taking the champion. Hadjar was informed this was the round that Bortoleto and Aron really needed to beat him. And Paul Aron was going to finish, Dirty was going to finish behind both of his rivals, but it has ruined a chance later on in the season to try and come back. With that huge moment, he has lost out on 15 points, crucial points as well. And to see it on the last lap, of course, he loses the podium. He loses a huge chance at the title. But it's going to now take a lot of bad luck to come from Isaac Hadjar, which we have seen this season. We've seen quite a bit of retirements and unlucky moments for Isaac Hadjar. So it's absolutely possible. But it is going to need to need to be perfect from his side, and just hope for a lot of bad luck on Hadjar's side, and hope that he kind of slows down a little bit. But it doesn't seem like that Isaac Hadjar is going to do that. He's a man on form right now, so it's going to take some beating for Paul Aron. But such a defining moment, such a ruining moment for his championship.
Just to come in there off the back of Omi's point, I'd argue it's more than 15 points lost, because he started the last two feature races from pole position and scored no points on the road. The only points he's got from the last two feature races are because he's had pole position. If you have pole position at circuit, well, especially at Budapest, where it's very difficult to overtake, you'd think you're walking away with at least 18, 15 points. It's probably more in the realm of 30 to 40 points that he's lost over the last two rounds to Isaac Hadjar. And of course, that's not even factoring the possibility of scoring in the sprint races, which I don't think he has either. So it's been really rotten form for Paul Aron. And before Budapest and Silverstone, we were praising his consistency, and it's just all gone down the drain, sadly, for him. Nice few weeks to just reset now, come back for the final four rounds. You never know what can happen. Like I only said, we've seen bad luck before drivers before, and I'm sure it will happen again. Whether it strikes Isaac Hadjar, that's another question. But also Bortoletto's up there; he's going really well. So if Aron wants to get his title chances back on track, he's got to start hitting big scores very, very quickly.
He has scored 7 points in the last 3 rounds. That is six races across 3 rounds, 7 points, which is absolutely not title-winning form. I don't think anyone who's ever won a title has ever quite had a slump that big during the season and still recovered it to go on to win the championship. So, yeah, really tough spell for Paul Aron. Obviously, this weekend was not his fault. Now, F2 Fan 5000 said last week in our YouTube channel, in the comment section of our YouTube channel, the championship is absolutely there for the taking for Paul Aron. And I think at that point, I agreed. I was like, yep, you know what? Championship's still on. All it takes is for Paul Aron to, stick it on pole in Spa, which he did, tick, and then win the feature race, and Hadjar to maybe have a bit of a rough weekend. And it's like, game on again. Now, after that weekend, Hadjar winning the feature race and Aron not finishing the race, and as I said, only picking up 2 points from the pole position that he scored. I'm going to say it, guys. I think the championship is done. 4 rounds to go. I think it's done. So what are we looking at? We're looking at, is it a 36-point lead that he's got? And in the form that he is in, I can't see any way that... I mean, realistically, we're talking there's 3 people in the battle for the championship, right? It's Hadjar, Bortoleto and Aron. I don't think anyone from Maloney down has a realistic shot now. With only 4 rounds to go, and I just can't see it happen. Now, I think this weekend is a championship defining round, a championship defining moment, and I think Hadjar has got one hand on the trophy. Aron, you're looking at me, shaking your head, looking like you're disagreeing. Talk to me.
Isaac said it himself in the press conference, and I wrote an article about it on the website insidef2.com. Go and check it out. He can't rely on that lead. He knows how quickly it can change because of the format in Formula 2. If he has a weekend where he just doesn't nail the setup in qualifying, qualifies 17th, doesn't score in the sprint race, loses points in the feature race, and Paul Aron and Bortoleto have really strong weekends, and even Zane Maloney and Jack Crawford have had pace at a number of races this season. Don't write them off. We could be in for one heck of a season finale. Right now, Hadjar is the prime favourite, absolutely. He's looking in total control. But I think there's still a long way to go in this season. There's still a lot of stories to be told.
He can afford to have 2 rounds of non-scoring, right? And still win the championship, though, no? With the points lead that he has now, he can have 2 rounds where he doesn't score at all, and he can still realistically win the championship with 2 good rounds.
I'm not sure I'd go that far. Maybe 1 he can afford because Bortoleto has been very strong, and he'll be there to pick up the pieces. I mean, what do you think? Who do you think is going to be the most likely challenger to Isaac Hadjar if he was to struggle?
I think now with Paul Aron's latest misfortunes, I do think that Bortoleto is going to be the nearest challenger, if anyone is going to challenge him, which I think, easily someone could. Isaac Hadjar, for example, retires in a feature race. Bortoleto gets a win, gets the fastest lap, and that's the points gap brought down to 10 points. Game on once again. So it can all change around still very quickly. Same thing really for Paul Aron, but he just needs to hit some form once again, which definitely is possible. Just needs to convert a pole to a win in the feature race. And that could be a huge confidence boost, and that could help him all the way until that checkered flag in the Abu Dhabi feature race later on this season. And I think he'll need to start at Monza if anyone is to challenge Isaac Hadjar.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Is it game on in terms of the championship? Does Isaac Hadjar have one hand on the trophy? Is it just the top 3 realistically in contention now? Hadjar, Bortoleto, Aron, or can anyone from Maloney, Crawford, Colapinto down still win the championship? Let us know your thoughts. As always, we want to hear what you have to say about it. And thank you to F2 Fan 5000 for your comment for us to reflect on. Moving on then, Gabriel Bortoleto obviously wasn't too far behind. He was P2 in the feature race. And again, you know what? For me, Bortoleto is obviously Hadjar is the man in form, definitely. But Bortoleto, he's driving so well at the moment, right, Omi?
Yeah, indeed. Of course, Formula 3 champion from last season, always would come in with quite a bit of pressure. Got second in qualifying, then promoted to first with Kushmani's disqualification in qualifying. So yeah, already with some good pace for Gabriel Bortoleto. And then in the last few rounds, he's just been brilliant with his pace overall. Always challenging, of course, got that victory, the feature race victory at Austria as well. So he is definitely a quick driver, and if he does hit some form, then that could be critical for him. And I think he could also be the champion and do what only a few drivers have been able to do and win Formula 3 and Formula 2. So yeah, Bortoleto, he is a driver really, really performing well, exactly what he would have wanted. But yeah, I don't know if I don't know if it's the best if he wins the championship with all of the seats that are relevant in Formula One. I think we've had this discussion before. It might be better if he wins it next year. But he's a driver who is performing absolutely brilliantly. Great to see from him.
Aaron, if Bortoleto does compete for the championship, yeah, it's just one of those situations. Like, where does he go? Like, if he finishes P2 in the championship, can you see him returning to Formula 2 next year to go for the title?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a no-brainer. You might as well. I mean, we saw Porsche do that after challenging Drogovic, came back, won the title the following season. So Bortoleto will be aiming to do exactly that if he falls a little bit short of someone else this time around. And like Omi said, it might actually play into his favour because a lot of the seats in Formula One are being taken up. You know, there's another season for someone to maybe have a little bit of misfortune, someone to fall out of favour with a team. And a space might open up for a Brazilian driver to work his way onto the Formula One grid. And I've said it once, I'll say it again. Formula One needs a Brazilian driver, not just because, you know, it's the history and all of that, but when we go to Sao Paulo, they get behind their drivers like almost nobody else does. You think Italy and Ferrari, but, you know, you times it by 100. They are fanatical. The support a Brazilian driver would get in Sao Paulo would be unbelievable.
Yeah. No, it definitely would be, and I would love to see Bortoleto in Formula One at some point, and I think he is one of the drivers on the grid. You look at your Antonellis, your Behrmans, you just know they're going to be in Formula One at some point. You knew that at the start of the season. I think Bortoleto is quietly going about his business and falling into that category where you think, well, at some point, if he keeps on doing what he's doing, it is so impressive, winning the Formula 3 championship last year, straight into Formula 2. Maybe a little bit of a slow start, but now mid-season he's hit form and he's on the pace every single round. And yeah, absolutely. If he next season comes back to win the championship, that's saying he doesn't win the championship this season, then you would definitely think that it will be in Formula One at some point. Aaron, you're not going to like this next conversation topic. A little incident at the start of the feature race between Ollie Behrman and Pepe Marti. It looked like Ollie Behrman's fault to me, unfortunately, that one. Aaron, are you going to defend your boy, or is he of the same opinion as me?
I won't have this slander. It wasn't his fault. No, I won't even finish that sentence. It was a racing incident. It was just one of those things. He drifted to the left. I think he didn't realise that Pepe Marti was alongside Zane Maloney on the other side of the Rodin driver, and 3-1 doesn't go. Behrman's copped the flak for it. He's got a 5-place grid penalty for the sprint race. Yeah, I mean, it's probably a justified penalty. He ended up taking Pepe Marti out of the race.
He had an amazing start, by the way. His launch was mega.
I know. It's the best thing that's happened to him in Formula 2 in about 5 races, bless him. And he arrives there. He's like, yes, I'm making a great start. This could be a good... Oh, hello, Ollie Behrman. Thank you. Hello, Wall. And that's the race over.
Omi, your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, very unfortunate for Pepe Marti. Of course, all started with a poor launch for Zane Maloney. And then, Behrman, of course. Yeah, bad start for Maloney just off the line. And then, Behrman maybe not knowing that there was also 2 cars alongside him. He was, of course, expecting Maloney, maybe not knowing Marti was there. And then just contact between the 3 of them. And Marti's been punished already this season for a very good start. He had a great start in the sprint at Australia, was punished for his own success with the contact with Bortoleto and Hadjar in that one. And then, he's been punished for a good start once again. This time contact with Behrman and Maloney.
Maloney fell, it was obviously started P6, fell all the way back to P13 with that poor start, and then made his way all the way back to P6. So, interesting race for Zane Maloney. I'm sure he'll be wanting to work on his starts. Moving into the last 4 rounds of the season. Let's talk about the sprint race then. It was a bit of a washout, wasn't it? And it's not the first time we've seen it in Spa either. Zach O'Sullivan announced the winner. Not many laps. Some lovely filling, I do have to say, by Alex Jakes and Alex Brundle. Omi, your thoughts on the sprint race? probably wasn't one that's going to stick in the memory. I think that's fair to say, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. In the sprint race, very unfortunate that we weren't able to get running for the first bit, but yeah, the conditions very much did not allow it. And yes, amazing feeling from Alex Jakes and Alex Brundle.
You all know as a
Proving,
commentator how difficult that is, right?
yeah, absolutely. Approving setups for the rain as well. So yes, lots very entertaining by Alex Jakes and Alex Brundle. Great stuff from the pair of them, and definitely did keep us very much interested even during the delays as well. But yeah, then we came back, of course, the second time around. We were able to get some good racing in those first few laps that we got. But yeah, unfortunate that we weren't able to see what Prema would have been able to do, because both Behrman and Antonelli were looking very quick. We saw the amazing move from Antonelli going into Rouge as well. That was absolutely phenomenal. But both Premas had pace, especially Antonelli, shown a lot of driving prowess in the wet before. So unfortunately, we weren't able to see what that could have been had we won all the laps in the race.
Yeah, Aaron, we know that the rain equalises things when it comes to motorsport and to single-seater racing. And we saw it at Silverstone. We saw Antonelli obviously fly off at the start, all the way through the sprint race, to be fair. He was absolutely on fire in the wet. And we saw a little glimpse of it again this weekend, didn't we? Wet weather conditions, and both Antonelli and Behrman seem to be the drivers moving forward, right?
They were, and I'm actually going to challenge your statement there that the rain isn't an equaliser. It just allows certain drivers to excel and others really struggle in the rain. We've seen the likes of Michael Schumacher, Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen just dominate when it's wet qualifying, wet races. They're always the drivers that move forward and end up at the front. And we've seen other drivers have a little bit of a more difficult time. Behrman and Antonelli were just on another level in those few laps with Prema. Obviously, Behrman was helped by the fact that he got an amazing start, made up several places. But that move by Kimi Antonelli, honestly, it was equal parts terrifying, equal parts mesmerizing. It was just absolutely insane. It's PlayStation stuff. That's the sort of thing you try when there's literally no consequences, when you can hit the reset button. Not on a rainy day in a Formula 2 car, high downforce, big tyres, wet track, challenging corner that has tragic history in Formula 2 and recent tragic history in FIA as well. That, to pull off that move, that is just bravery of the most obscene order. It's unbelievable. And I'm not just saying that because it's Kimi Antonelli and he's this, child prodigy. But if any driver pulls that off, that is just insane. That words fail me now.
Yeah, no, it was a great move, wasn't it? It was a really good move. And obviously we're recording this on Monday after the race weekend. Carlos Sainz has obviously been announced at Williams in the last couple of hours. And I do wonder whether Sainz has pulled the trigger on the Williams deal because he knows that the Mercedes deal is, the Mercedes seat is gone because Antonelli has got that Mercedes seat. I don't think they'll announce it now if Antonelli does have the Mercedes seat. I think they'll wait until later, as late as they can in the season to announce it. But to me, that Sainz deal is essentially saying that there's no chance of getting that Mercedes seat now. So he's going to accept the Williams offer in Formula 2. So yeah, we'll see where that goes with Antonelli. But yeah, definitely an amazing move and definitely one that I think we'll look back at the highlights reel of Kimi Antonelli's junior career when he's in Formula 1 one day, maybe when he's a Formula 1 world champion. I wanted to say a quick word as well, just briefly before we move on to Rookie Watch. JM Correa, you've kind of touched on it there, Aaron, leading the feature race at one point, and Alex Jakes mentioned it in commentary, and I thought it was a lovely thing to kind of highlight. Is obviously, as you said, the tragic events that happened there in 2019 for JM Correa to be driving at Spa in Formula 2, is something in itself. But to be leading the race, I know it was alternative strategy, but it was a lovely moment, wasn't it, Aaron?
Yeah, it was definitely a really touching moment. And obviously, he's come off the back of the podiums in Spain, which obviously almost 5 years to the day since his last podium, now coming to Spa. place where it all happened. So, a really heroic side to it, and the fact that JM Correa has come back from potentially life-changing injuries. They were not small injuries that he had. They were phenomenally bad injuries, and he's done amazingly just to get back into a racing car, let alone be competing at the front of high-level motorsport. So, he's an absolute hero in that sense.
Definitely, yeah, massive well done to JM Correa. Complete respect from everyone here inside F2. Let's move on to Rookie Watch. A few rookies that probably stood out other than the rookies we've spoken about already. Obi, we were talking about this pre-show, weren't we? And we're saying Miata went from P18 all the way up to, at the end of lap 3, all the way up to P7. And there was one point where I think he was 7 seconds behind his teammate Zane Maloney with about 10 laps to go, and he managed to close that gap to it was about 6 tenths of a second as they crossed the line. Really impressive performance by Miata. Obviously, race pace seemed pretty good, Omi, didn't it?
Yeah, great to see, of course, Rotoma Miata fighting at the front. Super GT champion, Super Formula champion as well from last year, and doing a lot of racing, of course, in Japan last year. I'm sure he's used to some of the wet conditions as well, and putting it into show at Spa. But yeah, great stuff from Rotoma Miata. A driver who really impressed me, though, of course, was Zach O'Sullivan, I think we have to say. Now, while the laps were very short in the sprint race, when we went into the race, the teams would always know that the teams would, of course, always know that the race could be over at any moment. The rain was always threatening. You always need to get the job done. Of course, Alex Jakes kept mentioning in commentary as well. The race could have easily been over at any moment, so you knew that you had to get the job done early. Zach O'Sullivan in the sprint pulled the gap and did exactly what he needed to do as well. So brilliant stuff from him. Still a good performance, even if the laps were massively shortened as well. And then great stuff in the feature race from Zach O'Sullivan as well to find himself up to 4th position. So a very good weekend from O'Sullivan.
Yeah, really good point. And I had that mentioned on. I had that written down on my notes as well. Where where we were talking about the sprint race win for Zach O'Sullivan. Also mentioned his feature race performance. It was a really good performance, wasn't it? Aaron, any rookies that stood out to you this weekend?
Yeah, just want to give a shout out to Josh Dirksen, going from 20th on the grid to a points-paying position in P10 in the feature race. AIX started this season as back of the grid fodder, and they have been very, very good at improving that car, getting the most out of it. They've given Taylor Barnard and Josh Dirksen something they can really fight with. Two slightly unfancy drivers towards the start of the season, but now we're seeing that they can race and they are very, very capable. And let's not forget that Josh Dirksen has made the same jump from FRECA to Formula 2 that Kimi Antonelli has. And I'll be honest, I don't think he's looked out of place. He's been very, very solid in that car. Podium finisher at Imola. So, this is another sort of feather in his cap that he can do different things, different drives for what he's required to do. So, well done, Josh Dirksen.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. Okay, let's take a look at the championship standings before we go then. Isaac Hadjar extends his championship lead further after winning the feature race. 165 points now to his name, 36 points clear of Bortoleto, as we said. Bortoleto moves above Paul Aron into second in the standings. No points this weekend for Franco Colapinto means he moves down to P6 below Jack Crawford. Kushmani and Zach O'Sullivan round up the top 10. And the team standings? We are all square at the top of the team standings. 203 points apiece for Campos, Amper and Victor heading into the break. MP Motorsport, High-Tech, Rodin all not too far behind. Some mixed weekends for them and some of those teams this weekend. Sprint race win for ART this weekend, but they remain down in 8th in the standings. VAR, Trident and AIX round out the team standings. And Aaron, I wanted to mention that just before we go, and Omi as well. Obviously, all square at the top of the team standings. Aaron, we'll come to you first. That is game on at the top of the team standings, right? We've got two teams level on points, and to be honest, the gap down the standings in the top 5 or 6, there's not that much between them, right? We're in for a full end of the season in terms of the team standings.
Yeah, we really are, and every point is going to matter to those teams. I mean, I don't think they get any prize money like in Formula 1, where it matters even more to the constructors there. But you always want to be one of the best teams in Formula 2 because it gives you priority pit garage and things like that. So they'll be fighting for every single point. And to have two teams after 10 rounds locked on points, that is absolutely fantastic. If we had a title battle like that, it would be one for the ages in the drivers. But it's not quite so close. But they're still doing their job for their team. So watch that space.
Omi, if you had to pick a winner, who's winning the team standings if we had to pick one with 4 rounds to go?
Definitely a hard one. Marty has had a lot of bad luck, so once again, it's going to be a situation of, is he going to be able to return back with some good performances after a little bit of a break? Then Bortoleto, of course, doing a solid job as usual. Maney also has been putting in some good performances in this season, of course, inheriting the win in the sprint race after Ashur's disqualification last time out in Hungary. So yeah, hard one to call. You really put me on the spot with that one. But yeah, definitely hard one to call. But yeah, I think with Invicta, both of the drivers are very talented. So I think I'm going to go with Invicta. I think they're able to just get the performances in most of the time, and possibly a little bit more than Campos. And Marty's had quite a bit of bad luck. So I think if we are going off the last few rounds, I'm going to have to go with Invicta.
Interesting. It's going to be fascinating to watch for the rest of the season, that's for sure. Okay, that's all we got time for today. Something slightly different for this week. I want you to let us know in the comments what videos or what content you want over the summer. We're pretty open in terms of the podcast, what we want to talk about. We've obviously got a few weeks break before Monza, so let us know in the comments what it is you want us to do our next podcast on. Is it driver transfers? Do you want us to predict the 2025 Formula 2 seats for next season, which is something we did last season? Let us know in the comments what you want, what kind of content you want to see, and we will provide it. But from me, Fraser Ford, and all of us here at Inside F2, we'll see you next time.